Morning, Ravi.
Om Sadashivasamārambhām Shankarācharyamध्यamām Asmadācāryaparyantāम् Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Garvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we are on verse number 31. So let us chant that. Please unmute yourself. Aham shabdena vikhyataha
Aham Shakti Vikhyatāh
eka eva sthitah paraha sthulastvανekatam praptah sthulastvανekatam praptah katham syad deha kapah puman. Katham syad deha kapah puman. Okay, so I'm just muting y'all. So we, in the last class, in the last verse, we said that we talked about how consciousness is evident in every experience. What is the answer? What is the way in which Atma is evident in every experience that you have?
as the I, aham eva.
As the aham, right? So you say, I am dukhi, I am experiencing sorrow, I am sukhi, I am experiencing happiness, I am waking up, I am going to sleep. Everything aham alone is common. And therefore, for that aham, that consciousness principle, which is you, to be evident, what is being said is that there is no process required. There is no mental process required for that I to be evident. Why is that necessary? Because take the case of any object. For example, you have a bottle in front of you. How do you experience? Now, when I say experience, you can take it as, in this case, as perception, as seeing. How do you see the bottle? First, there is a bottle vritti formed in the mind, right? There is a bottle thought which is formed in the mind. And that bottle thought, is that conscious or unconscious? Is that conscious or inert? The bottle thought.
That's inert.
It's inert. Because why is it inert?
It has not,
Because the consciousness has still not enveloped the vritti which has developed by just looking at the object.
Correct. So the vritti is basically in the mind. The mind is jada, and therefore the vritti which is formed, you are not aware of it because there is no consciousness there. Then the I thought, the aham vritti, that pervades that bottle, and therefore you have bottle jnanam. So that is there is a process. There is first the object thought which is formed. Consciousness in the form of I am pervades that thought, and that vritti, when it is pervaded by consciousness, that is called jnanam. So there is a process. But in this case, there is no object in front of you. Only the aham vritti is there, the I thought is there. There is always there. It doesn't require any process at all. How do you know? Let us say you are listening to this class, right? We are assuming that everybody is focused on what I am saying. What happens? What is the process when I am talking about this vritti? These words of mine, they fall on your ears. When they fall on your ears, your mind undergoes some change, right? The input is given by Shrotra Indriyam. The mind is the processing unit. When it processes the words which are falling on your ears, what happens? The mind undergoes a change. That change is your vritti, right? It is because of that change in the mind, it's because of the thoughts which are generated in the mind by my ears, by my words falling on falling on your ears. Therefore, a thought is formed in your mind. That thought is registering, understanding the words that I am saying, right? And therefore, for any recognition of anything outside you, the mind needs to function. To see something, there is an input given by the eyes. The mind processes that input and creates a thought. And then consciousness provides. And then therefore you know the what is happening. Jnanam is there. But for the mind to be evident, for the eye to be evident, the mind is not involved at all, because there is no object which it has to process. And therefore he says here, aham shabdena vikhyataha. This consciousness, vikhyataha, becomes known, becomes evident. How? Aham shabdena, in the form of the aham, in the form of the word aham. Aham, of course, means I thought. So in the form of the I thought, that consciousness is evident in the body, right? Now, it is also evident in the mind, obviously, right? First, it is evident in the mind, and because through the mind, the body is known, then it becomes evident in the body. So this is the process. I thought is there. That I thought recognizes the mind recognizes the body through the sense organs recognize the world, right? Now, when the I thought is in the mind is obviously recognizing the body mind complex, the body complex, right? Therefore, what happens? This aham vritti, which is actually you, in that you are including the mind first, and then you're including the body also. So the pure aham vritti, consciousness, I thought, which has arisen, or which is always evident, that because it is so intimately mixed up with the body and the mind, we make the mistake of including the body and the mind in that I thought. So when you say I, you refer to body and mind also. So it has become the reflected consciousness. It has become the RC. So that original I thought, having included in that I thought, the body mind complex, the RC has come. And therefore only if you want to arrive at the OC, what should you do? You should intellectually remove the body and the mind from the I. Remember that when normally I use the word I, the use is contextual. If I am saying I am hungry, what is the I thought including?
The
The
body.
body. You can also say pranamaya kosha, as depending on the depth to which you go, right? If you say I am sad, then you're using the manomaya kosha, but still the mind you're using, right? If you're saying I'm bleeding, it is very much the physical body. So therefore, if you include the body or the mind in the meaning of the word I, when you are using it in a sentence, then the primary meaning becomes the RC, right? The Vachyartham, the primary meaning is the RC. What is the Lakshyartham? You have to remove the body and the mind. That is a secondary meaning, the Lakshyartham of Aham, which is OC, right? So when you say, I am seated here, if you are referring to the I as RC, then there is a finite seat on which I am sitting, right? Here I am sitting on this chair and I'm saying I am sitting here, which means that I am using that I in the form of RC. But when I am saying I am seated and I am using the term I as OC, what does it mean?
I am referring to the Sakshi aspect of Brahman.
I am referring to the all-pervading aspect. I am Sarvagataha. I am all-pervading. What is seated here is the body. The big difference is there. When I use it in the RC aspect, I am saying I am the body and I am seated here. When I use the I as the OC, as the Sakshi, Sakshi Atma, then I am saying I am Sarvagataha, I am all-pervading, and what is seated here is the body. So Aham Shabdena, he's talking about Aham Shabda Lakshyartham. The OC aspect, Vikhyataha, is well known in Shastram, well known to the Vedantic student. And how is it known? Eka eva sthitaha paraha. Eka eva. Separate the body and take consciousness alone. Eka eva sthitaha. Take the consciousness alone. What does it become? Paraha. Paraha means it is beyond. It is deha atitaha. It is recognized in the body, but it is other than the body. It is beyond the body. So this first line, very, very important. Aham shabdena vikhyataha. The secondary meaning of the word aham, the lakshyartham of aham, vikhyataha, is well known if you are a Vedantic student, well known to you if you are an advanced Vedantic student. Because what have you done? You have taken that aham as eka eva sthitaha. You have kept it separate from the body, and therefore that aham has become deha atitaha, paraha. It is beyond the body, right? Just like when I put my hand up, this light which you see on my hand is not a part of the hand, is not a product of the hand, it's not a property of the hand, right? What is that light? That light is that because of which the hand is being shown to you, but the light is beyond the hand. Atitaha, paraha. Similarly, consciousness is beyond the body. It's deha atitaha. It is the nature of consciousness principle that everything is seated in the Atma. Okay, so much about the Atma. Then the question is, what about the body, physical body? So he says, sthulastu tu, but sthulaha anekatam praptaha. Sthulaha here means body. Anekatam praptaha, the bodies are many, right? And here we can add, not only the bodies are many, the bodies have parts also. You have hands, you have legs, and some parts are there which are duplicates also, as reserve parts are there. For example, you have two lungs, one lung fails, the other lung can operate, you have two kidneys, right? So many parts are there. And Sanskrit parts are called avayavam. Avayava is a part. Therefore, the body is savaya yavam. Savaya vaya. Savaya yavam means the body is with parts. Sa avayavam, with parts. Sa avayavam, with parts. But the Atman is nir-avayavam, without parts. Where is he leading to? This body has so many parts, and Atman is partless. It is only ekaha. Therefore, the question comes up: Katham dehakaha puman syat? How can this partless Atma? So Puman is Purushaha equal to Atma. How can this Atma, which has no parts, Katham dehakaha? How can it be the body with parts? So Deha means body. Why is the word Kaha? Why is the suffix Kaha being added? It's there in Hindi also. You should be able to make out. What is the
How?
me?
How
Yeah,
is said to be?
no,
Why?
it's not Kaha.
That which can be burnt,
Where is?
That which is?
that which can be burnt.
No, that is the body, meaning of the word body. I'm saying, why is the word suffix Kaha being added? You look at the word Bala. Bala means what?
Child.
Child.
And
Girl.
Balaka means what?
The Ekavachan
Child.
One.
One child.
No, Balaka means
Yeah.
smaller child. Okay, so Bala is child, Balaka is child. Therefore, Dehaka means small. The body is small. How can this small body, which has so many parts, how can that small body be equated to the Atma, which is infinite and only one? So the body is very finite, whereas Atman is infinite. How can the inferior body and the infinite Atman be equated? Right? How do you manage it? How do you make the impossible possible is the question. What's the answer? What makes the impossible possible?
Yaksha.
You remove the I am. It
No.
becomes possible. You remove the Nama Rupa here.
Order
No,
of
what
reality.
the question is the other way around. This infinite Atma, how is it being viewed as the finite body? That is the question.
Because of upadhis, because of superimposition.
Maya.
Because of Maya.
Oh,
It is
yeah.
always Maya which makes the impossible possible. So that is what is meant. A very beautiful sentence. Katham syat dehakaf paman. How is it possible for this Atma to be taken as the body? Okay, let us go to verse number 32. Please unmute. We'll chant. Aham drishtaya siddhaha.
Aham
Aham
Drishtaya
drishtataya
siddhaha.
siddhaha.
Deho drishtaya sthitaha.
Deho
Deho
Drishtaya
drishtaya
siddhaha.
siddhaha.
Deho drishyataya sthitaha.
Deho
Deho
drishtaya siddhaha.
Mamayam iti nirdeshat.
Maya
Mamayam iti
Desha
nirdeshat.
Katham syat dehakaf paman.
Katham
Katham
syat deha puman.
So remember that this conversation, the discussion is with whom? You have to look at the last verse or so before where we said that there is a person who's a Shunyavadi. So this is being addressed to him. Anyway, that's only by the way. So two more reasons are being given by the Acharya to show that I, the Atma, am different from the body. And these are all very well known Vedantic laws, which we have discussed many, many times, right? But here it is being put into words. So what is the first reason? Aham drishtataya siddhaha. I am the experiencer. Drishtataya siddhaha. I am the experiencer. And What is the body? Deho drishyataya stitaha. So the drishtaha, experiencer, drishyaha, experienced object. The very simple law. I am the experiencer. The body is the experienced object. What is the logic? The experiencer can never be the same as the experienced object, because look at your eyes. The eye which sees can never be seen, right? So first law is the experiencer is always different from the experienced object. What is the second law? Mama ayam iti nirdeshat. So nirdeshaha here means I refer to. So, nirdeshaha means the reference, and therefore mama ayam iti nirdeshat. I refer to the body as mama. Ayam is referring to the body. Ayam shariram mama iti nirdeshat. That body of mine is referred to as my body. I say my body is tall, my body is strong, my body is sick, right? What is referred to as mine, the second law is very clear. What is referred to as mine is not me, right? What is mine cannot be me, obviously. Otherwise, I would say me and not mine. So the second law, to put it in other words, the attributes of the experienced object belong to the experienced object alone and never to the experiencer. So two very important laws are being mentioned. What the experiencer is never the same as the experienced. The attributes of the experiencer, the attributes of the experienced object belong to the experienced object alone and never to the experiencer. So deho to aham drishtataya siddhaha, deho drishyataya stitaha, mama ayam iti nirdeshat. This is the two laws have been put into this simple one line. And therefore he says, katham syat dehakaf puman. How do you say that this experienced body is I, the Atma? I hope the flow is clear. Any questions? It's nothing new. All things which we have done before. We're just trying to do some nididhyasanam. Any questions? June?
I'm okay, Acharya ji. Very clear. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we go on to verse number 32. Let us chant. Please unmute yourself.
Raviji?
Yeah.
I have a small doubt.
Yes, please.
The attributes of the object, no doubt, are not mine, but each one perceives it according to his own lenses,
No argument about that.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Some are very objective attributes, like a person's height, for example. Everybody will perceive that the same.
right.
But whether his character, whether he's a good character, bad character, that is, perceived differently according to your likes and dislikes.
Right. So the physicality at a very vyavaharika level of objects are the same. Like if
Yeah.
an apple is an apple for everyone. But how it tastes at the psychological level is a function of one's own individual
Likes and dislikes, but still it
experience.
belongs to whom?
The object. Yes.
Yeah. Not only that, when you say it's a function of my likes and dislikes,
Yes.
you are not talking about consciousness principle.
Yes. Yes.
Talking about the mind.
Yes.
That should be clear.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, let's look at verse number 32. Aham vikarahinastu
Aham vikarahinastu
deho nityam vikaravan
Deho
nityam vikaravan
iti pratiyate sakshat.
iti
Pratiyate sakshat.
Katham syat dehakah puman.
Katham
katham syat puman.
Puman.
So
Acharya, it's a repetition. It's I think verse 33 because verse 32 has been
it's verse 33. I'm sorry, it's verse 33. 32 we did last the last one.
no, the PDF shows it as verse 32.
Yeah,
It's a
so please correct that.
typo error.
Yeah. Aham vikarahin. I am the word hin, the suffix hin is in the meaning of free from, devoid of, or taken away, whatever. So aham vikarahin. I am free from vikaras. What vikara are we talking about?
Shadvikara.
Shadvikara. So I won't explain. It's there in Tattvabodha, we have done. I am free from all of the 6 changes. Right? The body will die, of course. The body will change, of course. But as far as I am concerned, I am the Sakshi. I am the witness of all these changes. Right? Now, we can have a question here. How do you know that you exist after the death of the body? Right? I don't know in what condition, whether existing, non-existing, I will be at when the body is gone. And therefore, what is being said is that this state after death of physical body is something which cannot be perceived, cannot be experienced, right? And that is why death is always compared to a very long sleep. Sleep here meaning Sushupti Avastha, where you don't experience the body at all, you don't experience the world at all, you don't transact with anyone, and the others are not going to transact with you. So during Sushupti Avastha, for all practical purposes, you are said to be dead. Okay, and Sushupti Avastha is there every night. Okay, this is by the way, okay, it's not related to the explanation here, but it's by the way. So in Sushupti Avastha, you are dead basically, because there is no transaction, very similar to death. Now, what do you do when you go to a house where a death has taken place, or you go to a crematorium? What do you do when you come back?
We take
Take
bath
a bath.
Take a bath.
Why?
because technically the dead body is considered is no
Impure.
more, yeah,
Impure, right? So ashaucham. So
Ashaucham.
any association with a dead body is considered ashaucham, and therefore when you come back, you have to take a bath. And that is why traditionally you take a bath, you are supposed to take a bath the moment you get up. You get the logic? Because in the night you have been associated with your dead body. So it's only by the way. So it's not a very, what they call invigorating thought, right? But still, that's what Shastra tells you. Anyway, so therefore, in death, what is the form of your existence in unmanifest form? And you take a new birth, just like waking up from your sleep. Then you can talk about other lokas. What about other lokas? So Shastra says that can also be compared to Swapna, because when you are in Swapna Avastha, you are as good as dead for the purpose of Jagrada Avastha. You are transacting in the Swapna Loka, in the Swapna, the dream world you are transacting. But in Jagrada Avastha, you are not transacting. You are as good as dead because you are not there. What is the idea of all this? The idea of this discussion is that whether you transact or not in the Jagrata Avastha or in Sushupti Avastha or in Dream Avastha, you continue to exist. In some avasthas, you transact. Dream Avastha, for example, you're transacting. Jagrata Avastha, you're transacting. Sushupti Avastha, you're not transacting. But do you exist or not if you ask? In all the avasthas, of course you exist. And therefore, this is another rule which we have to understand. Not transacting cannot be equated to not existing. Not transacting from the statement that the body is not available for transactions, you cannot say that I am not existing, because you are different from the body. And therefore he says, Deho Nityam Vikaravan. This body is subject to constant change. How do you know? Iti pratiyate sakshat. This is directly evident. Pratiyate, I can directly see this. Sakshat, directly. The fact that the body is subject to constant change is directly evident to me in my day-to-day transactions, right? Morning I'm energetic, evening I'm low on energy. 6 months back, I didn't have certain body pain. Now I have got knee pain. 5 years back, I could run very fast. My tempo has slowed down. The body is constantly changing. Deho nityam vikaravan iti pratiyate sakshat. This is directly evident from your day-to-day transactions, from the way you are witnessing the body. Therefore, katham syat dehakaf pavan. How is it that you can take this Atman as the body? In other words, how is it that you are taking the body as yourself? Ultimately, you are Atma alone. Okay, verse number 34. We chant. Yasmat paramiti shrutya
Yasma
Yasmat paramiti shrutya
Daya purusha lakshanam
Daya
apurusha
Purusha
lakshanam
vinirnitam vimudhena
विनिर्णीतं
vinirnitam
विमूढेन
mudena
vinirnitam vimudhena
विनिर्णीतं विमूढेन
katham syat teha kafpaman.
कथं स्यादेह कं
Syateha
पुमान्
kapuman.
So in the previous verses, what methodology was being used to show that I am different from the body?
Yukti.
Yukti. Logic was being used, right? So now here you're going to say that he's going to talk about Shruti. Because remember, we have Yukti, Shruti, Anubhava. Three pillars of understanding. So Yukti is over, right? Now we are looking at Shruti. So here, Yasmat Param iti Shrutya. So there is a mantra called Yasmat Param Na Param Asti Kinchit. Right? It's the beginning of a mantra. Anybody has heard of this mantra? No. Okay, so this is a mantra which is normally chanted. Whenever a sannyasi comes home, you greet him with, this is one of the mantras with which you greet him. Okay, Yasmat Param Na Param Asti Kinchit. Anyway, it's from an Upanishad which we are not going to do. It's called the Mahanarayana Upanishad. A very simple Upanishad that if you have a copy, you can read it, easy to understand. And in temples also, you will find that during some of the pujas, this mantra is chanted. So, Yasmat Param Na Param Asti Kinchit. Atman is beyond everything that is there. beyond all koshas, beyond 14 lokas. It's beyond everything. In the sense, yasmat param na param asti kinchita means there is nothing is Atman is beyond everything. At the same time, even though Atman is beyond everything is in Atman. That is to say, you can rephrase that as Atman is beyond everything, but nothing is beyond this Atman. And the relevance of this mantra is that, therefore, this Atman is beyond the body also. That's why he's quoting. So that is what we are saying, right? We are saying that Atman and body are different. And he's saying, Acharya is saying that I have shown you through yukti, through logic, that this is so. But it's not just logic. Even Shruti says the same thing. So he quotes this. And so he says Shrutya. By this Shruti mantra, which Shruti mantra? Yasmat param iti. The Yasmat param na param asti inchita. That full mantra is there. Because of the mantra, he says Shrutya. By this mantra, Purusha Lakshanam Nirnitam. Nirnitam means clearly understanding, clearly knowing or ascertaining. Purusha Lakshanam. Purusha here is Atma. Lakshanam is the nature, indicator. The indicators of Atma, the nature of Atma is Nirnitam, clearly known. By whom? By Vimudhena. What is Vimudhena? So there are, two understandings. Okay. Vimudhena can be taken as Vishesha Mudhena, which means what?
Totally deluded.
Head.
Totally
Special fool.
deluded person.
Hmm.
But the prefix V can be taken as Vigata also. So Vigata Mudhena means what?
The wise.
The intelligent, discriminative person. So when reading, you look at the context. In the context, is it Vigata Mudhena or Vishesha Mudhena?
Vishesha.
Sorry.
No,
Vigata.
Vigata Mudena.
It cannot be Vishesha
Ah.
Mudhena, right? Because
He's understanding the Atma.
this person is understanding it through the Shruti, and therefore through the Shruti, this intelligent, wise person, Vimodena, Vigatamodena, he has understood Purusha Lakshanam Nirnitam. And having understood that, now the closing sentence is the same. Katham Syat Dehakaf Puman. In all the earlier verses, what was the reference? The hetu for saying this, the reason for saying this was, there was a logic given that Atma is different from the body. And here the logic is, since Shruti is telling you that Atma is different from the body, katham syat dehakappaman. When Shruti very clearly says that Atma is different from the body, how is it that you can take the Atman as the body? You see the difference? The same conclusion. Katham syat dehakappaman. Same conclusion. The reason for arriving at the conclusion is different in the earlier verses, was different in this verse. Now the Shruti consolidation continues. We will look at verse number 35.
Acharya,
Yes,
may I
please. Go ahead.
So here it is being told to Shunyavadi, which is which which would not be a person who would have faith in Shruti.
Yeah, fine. I mean, that is taken for granted, but you can take it as being addressed to us. Because ultimately, this started with a Shunyavadi, but Shunyavadi is only by the way. It can be taken as a person who was not understood also.
Ji, thank you.
Okay, now verse number 35, we chant. Sarvam Purusha Eveti
Sarvam Purusha Eveti.
Sukte Purusha Sanyate
Sukte Purusha Sankyate.
Apyuchyate Yata Shrutya
अप्युच्यते
यतः
यतः
कथं स्यात् देह कः पुमान्
कथं
स्यात्
पुमान्
So sukte purusha sanyate. So sukte purusham is a reference to suktam called Purusha Suktam. Have you heard the name?
Yes, Acharya.
Yeah. So we don't get into the what do you call Karmakanda part because we simply don't have the time. But when you study Veda, then you also study something like Rudram, Chamakam, Purusha Suktam. All these you study. Okay. And this Suktam is there in all the four Vedas. So that's why he's quoting. So he says Sukte Purusha Sangite. The Purusha Suktam says Sukte Purusha Sangite. Purusha Suktam Sangite. It says what? Sarvam Purusha Eva iti. Sarvam Purusha Eva iti. This is the statement that Purusha is everything. So if I am the Purusha, what is Veda saying? It is saying that you, the Purusha, are everything. And if you are everything, then obviously, if I am saying that I am Sarvam, then what is being hinted here is that how can you then say that I am the body? Right? Because if you are saying I am the body, you cannot say I am Sarvam, I am everything. And therefore, if you take yourself as the body, you cannot say that I am everything. But Veda is telling you that you are everything. Right? And therefore, I, the Purusha, must be something other than the body. This is the logic here. Shruti says, you, Purusha, Sarvam, are everything. But if you think you are the body, then you cannot accept the statement of the Veda. But here you are an Astika. Therefore, you have to accept that Veda is correct when Veda says that you are everything. Therefore, the word Purusha cannot refer to my body, but refers to the Atma, which is beyond the body. And he says, Api yuchyate yata shrutya. Shruti, this Purushuktam says this very clearly. Api also says this very clearly. And therefore, Katham Syat Deyakaf Puman. How can you, the Purusha, take yourself as the body? All very beautiful Nidhi Dhyasanam verses, So, in a meditation session, you can actually take one of these and then meditate, contemplate, see what are the logical. What do you do when you meditate? You look at that particular verse, of course, you mentally chant it. You take each word and you think of all the possible objections that your mind can come up with. And then you work on those objections and convince yourself that the objections are not correct. That is how the understanding that I, the Purusha, I, the Atma, am not the body, will get embedded in your subconscious. Okay, we look at verse number 36. Asanga Purusha Proktaha
Asanga Purusha Prokta
Brihad Aranyake Picha
Brihad Aranyakepicha
Anantamala Samsrishtaha
Nantamala Samsrishtaha
Katham Syat Deha Kafpaman.
Katham Syat Deha Kapman.
So Shankara is quoting, right? And he makes it very clear. Brihadaranyaka api. Even api means even. So api Brihadaranyaka, even the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it says Asanga Purushaha. Proktaha. Proktaha means says. So here you have to read it as Brihadaranyaka api Proktaha. Even the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says Asanga Purusha. The Purusha is Asanga. So we have not done, but if everybody sticks around long enough, we'll be doing the Upanishad. It's a very large Upanishad. And there is a section called the Swayam Jyoti Brahmanam. Right? So that section we'll be covering. That contains this particular mantra, Asanga Purushaha. Purushaha is, I'm not going into details because we are just giving a oblique reference that yes, it is there in this Upanishad. So Asanga Purushaha is having no relationships, having no connections, and therefore obviously the Purusha is not connected to the universe. Now, whenever I say Purusha, remember it is Brahman, Atman. Atman is not connected to anything in this creation. The world, the body is in the creation. And if the Purusha, the Atman is not connected with the creation itself, how can it be connected to the body? Right? The idea is that if I am taking the Atman as the body, then this statement, Asangha Purusha, cannot be true. Because my body or anybody's body has a connection, has a relationship with everything in the creation. Body is always connected to the world. What is the connection?
The Indriya
And
Golakam.
Panchmahabhuta.
Panchamahabhutam. It is born from Panchamahabhuta only. How can it not be connected to the world? And therefore, if I am saying that the body is Purushaha, that I am the body, then I must know that body is connected to everything in creation, right? Body has relationships with many bodies, father, son, father, daughter, husband, wife, friend, everything. All relationships in this world are body to body alone. Okay, that's another nice point which is being made here. People say that the Sukshma Shariram connects to another Sukshma Shariram only in this life because the bodies are there. But the Jiva essentially is relationship. Without the physical body, the Jiva has no relations to maintain, right? So there's a lot of, stories you will hear that somebody else's body is now being connected to my body in the next birth. Remember that when the body is gone, relationship is gone. What is the logic?
The prarabdha karma is over with that particular body or the relations.
Very good. So there are two bodies who are connected. Let us say father and daughter. The connection is because of the prarabdha karma of the jiva who is the father and the prarabdha karma of the jiva who is the daughter. When the father dies, his prarabdha is over, which had caused that connection. And therefore, the jiva who is now remaining has no more connection with the daughter. So that is a hard truth which Shastra says connections are only between physical bodies, right? So that is what he's saying here. The body, of course, has this connection. The body is also connected to the other objects in the world. So Desha, Kala, Vastu, everything is there. To every object in this world, the body is connected. It is Vyavaharika only. The connection is only Vyavaharika. For the point is that if I say I am the body, he's saying, how can you accept the statement that Shruti is saying that you are Asangaha? And therefore, since you are an Astika, you believe in the Vedas, you have to accept that Asanga Purushaha statement is correct. I am relationshipless. and therefore I can have no connections with any body at all. Right? So Shariram is, the body is with connection, Purusham is with no connections. How can they both be the same? How can the body of the Vyavaharika Satyam be the same as the Brahman of the Paramarthika Satyam? Even though that Brahman pervades the body in the form of consciousness, remember that there can be no connection at all, because Shastra says that it is Asanga. Logically also, why can there be no connection? You can use the logic also over here. Logically also, why can there be no connection between the Brahman of Paramarthika and the body of Vyavaharika?
Different
Different
levels of
levels of
reality.
Different levels of reality. There can be no connection between two objects in different levels of reality. Okay.
So
Then,
I
sorry.
have a question, sir, here.
Yes, please.
So, like in our tradition, Hindu tradition, people get married and they say that I want the same partner for 7 lives.
You
and
can say
such.
that, but the Lord has to decide, you know. You don't get it. It's all nice to say that, just keep your partner happy, actually.
But in the Karma Kanda, the mantras actually probably indicate that.
No, they won't.
Yeah? Okay.
That inconsistency will not happen. It's an interpretation is being given. Okay. And tell me one thing, when you say same partner, what is it that you are meaning? Because the
So,
jiva in the next birth has a completely different set of prarabdha.
well, my doubt came about only because of that. So probably is the two Sukshma Sharira connection then?
No,
That we are,
see, you have a connection as a jiva, you can say you are Sukshma Shariram. So you have a connection with, let us say, your son or daughter, or maybe husband, may have connection with the husband because of the physical bodies. Why do you have that connection? Because the two jivas in this birth have an interlinked prarabdha, or you have some prarabdha which required your husband's connection to fulfill. He has some prarabdha which requires your connection to fulfill. Now, when one of you is no longer there, or in the next birth, both your bodies are gone, but the two jivas which you were in this birth, they have completely different prarabdha. It is, why do you want to imagine that the same set of prarabdha will come? Logically, it is not possible. When you put your hand into the grain box to take out, the mixture is never the same. If you have a grain box which you have got, let us say, some amount of rice and some amount of wheat, every time you put your hand in, will the number of grains of rice and wheat be the same? It will never be the same. It is the same thing here.
Acharya ji, to this connection, I would like to ask a question, which
Please.
I've heard. I've heard that people say that the relations which you have in this life, the karma that you share with them, make it so happen that next jiva, next birth also, then sort of, they come around again.
Why?
Is it so? Because you might have done something which has, debit credit is still left, sort of.
See, all these are, interpretations which you may find in the Puranas or in the
Okay.
Itihas. You will never find them in Shastra. Because
Okay.
you think of it in the logical aspect, right? You have hurt somebody very badly. Let us say. Therefore, you are going to say that in the next birth, that jiva will come around to hurt you.
That's what people say usually.
No, the law of karma says that you have hurt somebody very badly, you will get hurt very badly. The one who gives you the hurt can be anybody.
Right, got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, Acharya, can I ask one question?
Please, Manmohan.
Yeah. So just you said that it's the physical body to body relation, and suppose son and daughter, then one of, like, suppose mother dies or daughter dies, son dies, so we suffer. I mean, the other person who remains, they suffer, and the suffering happen, this experience of suffering happens in the sukshma sarira only. So, and prarabdha also, we say that this life we get, this birth and all, to experience that prarabdha.
Correct.
And it's when we say experience, that it's not only the physical body, it's the mind also, that's means sukshma sarira. So
Correct.
then how,
I'm
then
not saying
how
no. I am saying for the Sukshma Shariram to experience anything, it requires a physical body.
Yes, yes.
Without the physical body, Sukshma Shariram cannot experience.
Okay. So
And
even what
therefore the karma which you are carrying as part of your baggage in the Sukshma Shariram, when this body of yours gets exhausted, what is happening to the karma?
exhausted, that karma
It's
exhausted.
over.
Yes,
So
yes.
next birth, you are getting a completely different set of karma, the prarabdha karma.
Yes, yes. But the person who remained and the other dies, just this is a very particular example, still because that person's prarabdha is not over, so that person is suffering.
Absolutely. The person who has gone doesn't suffer at all because he has no
Mhm.
physical body at that point of time, or he has got another physical body which could be anything.
Yes, yes. Okay, thank you.
Acharya, at
Yeah.
another level, who suffers?
The jiva suffers.
Yes, but it is the body, it is not the
No, no, no.
Brahman or
There is
Atman.
mental suffering also, no?
Mental is there, but mind is also jada. Mind is also part of the Sukshma Shariram. So
Correct.
this suffering, if we go a little deeper, who is the sufferer, then it becomes very clear it is all only in Vyavaharika, no?
Of course, even you're talking
Yeah,
only in Vyavaharika, right? I am talking also
right,
in Vyavaharika only. For
right.
Paramardhika, there are
So,
no transactions.
yes, yes,
All
right,
teaching takes place in Vyavaharika. All understanding takes place in Vyavaharika.
yes.
Because of that, we cannot discard Shastram. We have to say,
No,
yes, everything happens in Vyavaharika. The understanding that I am Brahman takes place where? In Vyavaharika
uh,
only.
Vyavaharika
See, there's a
only.
very clear difference in this. The understanding that I am Brahman takes place in Vyavaharika. The fact that you are Brahman is Paramarthika.
Yes, right. But then, yes, Paramarthika is silence because who is going to say that I am?
There is no mind there.
Yes, there is no mind to say that.
So
Yes,
you have to be very clear. Everything
mm,
happening is Vyavaharika alone, but what is being conveyed is a eternal fact, which is Paramarthika, that you are Brahman.
mm. Yes, Acharya.
Raviji,
Yes, Natraji?
can I ask a question as well? Actually, two questions.
Yeah.
What if this is often, and I've seen it written in spiritual books, that the last thought you have at the time of death will determine your future incarnation.
That is
How do
there
you
in the Bhagavad Gita also.
How do you interpret that in the view of what you're saying?
In the view of what we have said, you have to take the last thought as a product of the life that you have led.
Right.
In fact, Krishna says in the 8th chapter, I think it is, that you should die. When you die taking the name of the Lord, and then you will come to me. Right? So you can interpret it saying that I can lead a licentious life for 98 years, and the last minute I say Krishna, 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 and I'm saved. What is the interpretation? That it is the life which you lead which will decide your last thought. It becomes the habit which you have formed, the vasana which you have formed. That is what decides the last thought. So if the whole life you have been thinking about material things, then, Your last thought is bound to be material. And therefore, you'll be born in a body which will give you the opportunity to do more material stuff.
Okay.
That is creating a karma, right? The whole life, those
Yeah.
thoughts have created karma. And it is that karma which is manifesting. And that is why they say that that is the last thought.
So,
Okay.
Acharya ji, that is when you're living with your children or with your spouse, and if the last thought is that only, so that is how you can be associated in the next birth.
Not
Or
with the children. In a family person, yes. See, you are assuming that the child is going to be reborn as the same child. It's not true, no? The prarabdha which you have with the child has is got a finite quantity. When that is over, he'll get a fresh stock of prarabdha. He might not be a human at all.
Only you are going to get a child. Only in the next going to have a
if you are
child
very fond of your
because you
child and
were
the whole life you spend in that, then the interpretation can be that yes, you will be again a grahastha and you will have a child.
Okay, my second question was that on the basis that you said your future birth is determined by the karma you're creating now, your future prarabdha, right?
Yeah.
Is based on what you're creating. And if you are living with somebody, you're likely to be creating similar karmas. But if you have a close relationship, and particularly what kind of, depending on your understanding, of course, then isn't it more likely statistically to say that you will have a similar prarabdha karma if you are creating similar karmas in this life? The future, your chances of sharing or having similar prarabdha in the next life is also higher.
That is true. That is true. I am not denying that. I am only saying that the chances of your being born as a similar jiva with a similar karma is okay. But the same jiva which you got in this life, that jiva is not going to come. You'll have another jiva as your friend or your partner, but with similar karma maybe.
Right.
But the point was, will it be the same jiva who was my partner in this life? That there is no evidence anywhere in Shastram to point to that.
Yeah. Well, I suppose the confusion comes because, as you keep saying, as we realize, we associate the jiva with the physical body so strongly that naturally that physical body will not be the next life will not be the same physical body.
Correct.
Naturally, we're not going to have the same what we have here.
Absolutely. So that there is a very prevalent thought that I will get the same partner. As Shubdaji was saying, that's something which you keep telling your partner all the time. I want to be your partner for the next 7 lives. So that's not going to happen.
And also we have a huge sanchita karma. So agami is fine, but this is very small in this life what we have. So if we compare with sanchita, so it's not that in the next birth only all the things are going to come.
It depends on how strong it is, like for example, Krishna says somewhere in chapter 6 that if you have stepped onto the spiritual path, then there is no stepping back in spite of all the, prarabdha that you, sanchita that you have. So what he is saying is the power of that spiritual practice will keep getting you a human body.
Correct.
Okay, thank you for your patience. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Tat Sat. Thank you.